I'm a biker, true and proud, ride an iron horse that's free and wild. A biker, true and proud, admitting I'm scared is not allowed. I may not look so mean and tough, but let me tell you, sir, I'm no powder puff. What it takes to ride, well, I got the stuff. I got what it takes to ride. Got what it takes to ride. Got what it takes to
Welcome back to It's Never Too Late, where we believe it's never too late to start something new, to have some fun, or to follow your dreams.
But before we get started tonight, we have a special announcement. There's a park dedicated
to Detective Louis Alvarez in Oceanside. There was a nice ceremony today at 11 o'clock, and one of our chapter's rap people, Rachel Barcelona, so wonderful. She does a show called Youth Heroes. She was asked to sing the national anthem. So we would like to remember Detective Alvarez and give some tribute to Rachel as well. And here she is in the park today.
Nonprofit called Ability Beyond Disabilities. So Rachel, take it away.
Well, before we begin this joyous moment, I want to say big thanks to the Alvarez family, because nobody represents this joyous song of our country more than them. So, yay, I love you guys. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the
Thank you so much.
That's the chapter's raps, Rachel Barcelona, at the dedication of the park in Oceanside to Detective Alvarez. And we thank the family, and we're so grateful to Rachel as well. She is a wonderful young lady, really remarkable young girl. So
yes, she is.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to our show. We promised you we're going to take you on the road.
And we will.
We didn't break that promise. It just got a little bit delayed. That's all. We tried to produce a show while we were on the road. We just got back. And you know that saying, home sweet home? Ooh, after 5 weeks on the road, it's home sweet home. We're glad to be here.
Look at this tan, huh? You like this tan we got here going on? Yeah, we had a great time. And next week, God willing, we'll be able to take you on the road, and you'll be able to travel with us as we take the trip.
Oh, next week we're going to show them one of our favorite spots, aren't we?
A couple of them.
Well, maybe we'll just show them how we prepared to get to one of our
Yeah,
spots.
maybe we'll just show how we
don't
prepared.
know.
Well, we'll have
All
to
right.
wait.
Stay tuned. You'll find out next week.
It's going to be great.
But we have a special show for you tonight.
We do. We put together a show. I was adopted. It was arranged before I was born, and I always knew about it. And it was something that always intrigued me. Who did I look like? My parents arranged before I was born, like I said, to be adopted. As a matter of fact, they wanted a girl so much, and they didn't know if I was going to be a girl or a boy, but they had, their neighbor actually made a pillow with my name on it. The mom already had me named, had the pillow named, and she was just praying for a girl. And they got me. So anyway, I wanted to say that I always knew it was my favorite bedtime story my whole life. My mom always told me how much she wanted a girl, and she finally got it, and how much I was loved. And she made me feel extra, extra, extra special because of it. Well, I'll show you a picture of my mom and dad and me. They spoiled me rotten. They love to travel. My dad, that's us in the Bahamas, and I'm 5 years old there. And they were just the best parents in the world. They're Irish, and as you can see, I look a little bit Italian. I knew that my birth mother was Italian, but I was raised Irish, so I always thought it was half and half. I didn't know anything about my birth father. I had done some research. It didn't lead very far, so eventually I did DNA. I did the Ancestry DNA to see how close I could get. It didn't get me any closer than fourth cousins. However, one of my fourth cousins, Mike Maglio, is a genetic genealogist. He contacted me and he said, "Would you like some help?" And I went, "Oh my goodness, absolutely." Well, he spent about at least a year, maybe two, doing the genetic research. Found out he and I were share my birth father's side, and eventually he found my family, and he made some phone calls, and I was prepared, right? We didn't know what was going to happen.
You never know when you when you're looking for people that you never met in your life, and that you tell them you're related. How are they going to take that? Are they going to want to meet you after 50 some odd years, or not?
60 some odd years.
Well, now. Yeah. So I was always concerned about that aspect of it. I knew when we were dating, I knew that she was adopted. She told me the whole story. But then she did the DNA thing, and now she met her cousin, a fourth cousin.
Yes, and well, as it turns out, I am
Here we
not
go.
an only child. So let me tell you this little journey that we took. First, I found out I have a sister in California named Kathy, who's older than me, and we got to talk on the phone. And you can see a bit of a resemblance there. We just hit it off right away when she and I spoke on the phone, and we just felt like sisters immediately. It was the most wonderful thing. She couldn't wait to talk to me. She was as excited as I was, and it was really great. And she told me a lot of things. She filled in things. It was just wonderful seeing a picture of somebody, because having been brought up Irish, all my cousins have blonde hair, and I kind of stuck out like a sore thumb. And it was very cool to find out who I looked like. Now, the second that these are my first cousins on my birth father's side, is the second that they found out about me, they called me up and they said, "We have to meet you. If you're a Vassallo, we have to meet you. You've got to come meet us." And there we are at a wine bar in Massapequa. Do I have beautiful cousins or what?
Yes, you do. I met them in person, and that picture doesn't do them any justice.
Yeah.
They are gorgeous.
Yeah, Angela and Suzanne. And
they have big hearts too.
Yeah, they really do. So that was exciting. All of a sudden I'm meeting, and it was funny when I was telling people about Kathy, I kept calling her my cousin. I've never called anyone my sister. I've never called anyone my brother. For the longest time I kept saying cousin, because I never had a sibling. And this was so exciting to me to have some answers. And I actually, from my research, was able to answer a lot of questions for them too. It was very exciting. I'm very blessed that they wanted to meet me, but it doesn't end there. I also have, on my father's side, I have two brothers, Kurt. There we go. Kurt and Eddie. Eddie's on the left, Kurt's on the right, and they work in the Bayville meat market. My birth father was a butcher, a trade that he passed on to his sons, and they own the Bayville meat market. So there we were the day we met. They had heard about me, and we just kind of showed up one day and went to the counter, and Kurt's standing there, and I look at him and I go, "Do you know who I am?" And he looked at me and goes, "You're my sister." So there we were, and of course I go there and they gotta feed us because it's an Italian thing. Oh, it ends
Oh.
up that I am Italian back at least 7 generations on both sides of the family. And both sides of the family came from little towns near Naples. And so I'm all, what do they say, Napolitan?
Yep.
I'm all Napolitan. So those are my 2 brothers there. And then who do we have next on the lineup here?
Oh, Rita.
That's my baby sister, Rita.
We met Rita and her husband Kenny in a diner. So Kenny and I are talking, and these two were talking, and all of a sudden they started to laugh. Kenny and I turned to each other like we were absolutely amazed. They have the identical laugh.
Is that
This
funny?
is the first time they met, and they're sisters.
Yeah. And
But the laugh is incredible.
The only difference is I have dark hair. She has blonde hair and blue eyes because her mother's German. But we look the most alike of any of my siblings. And there are more. There are more. And not only I had to learn all my siblings' names, I had to learn their kids' names. And most of them are old enough to be grandparents. So they have grandchildren. So I have siblings.
It was tough for you, huh?
It was.
How about for me? I'm thinking of marrying an only child. Next thing I know, she's got how many?
I had at one point 13 siblings.
Brothers and sisters.
Between my mother's side and my father's side. 3 are deceased, all on my birth mother's side. So I never got to meet 3 of them. But yeah, I went from being an only child to having 10 living siblings who all have big families. So it was quite a bit, but it was very exciting. There's more. Who's next in the lineup? Is it Takora. That's my niece, Takora. I was singing in church and she wanted to meet me so much. She lives in the Bronx. She came through like 2 trains and a bus just to come meet me singing in church that day. So sweet. She's my sister Patricia's daughter. I haven't met Patricia yet. We're friends on Facebook, but we still haven't met. So I hope we get to meet soon. Big
family spread out all over.
Big family spread out all over. But everybody was jumping over themselves to meet me. It was amazing. The second they found out about me, they like called immediately or they arranged a meetup right away. And that was just amazing to me that they all wanted
What a
to meet
relief
me.
that was for me. They wanted to meet her. That was fantastic. And it turns out I love them all. They're all such great people.
Yeah, they feel like family from the very, very beginning. And it's wonderful. My family that I grew up with kind of felt a little funny in the beginning. They're like, oh, she's got all these relatives now. She's not going to want us anymore. And that's totally not it. But now we have to kind of spread ourselves a little thin because we've got the family I grew up with and the families that from my birth family. So it's been quite a ride. And then I found out there are a lot of things that run in the family in your genes besides your looks. Is this picture of Randy? Do we have Randy's picture next? There's Randy. He's one of my brother's sons, and he loves to ride motorcycles. And there we were. One day I said, oh, we got to do a picture. I was still reigning in Ms. New York at the time. And it was my birthday. And Curtis was upstate doing whatever here at the house. So he and I went for a motorcycle ride, spent the whole day together. He is absolutely a honey. That's my nephew, Randy. So there's more than one thing that runs in the family. And I found out quite a few of the people on my birth father's side rode motorcycles. So that's Randy. And then we went to North Carolina one day on one of our trips, and we stopped in North Carolina.
You were coming back from Myrtle Beach.
We might have been.
Right.
I don't remember.
That's your sister?
Yep, that's my sister Nina, also on my father's side. She looks like her mom, but she's got her father's coloring. But we got to meet her too. And so the list kind of goes on. Well, what happened was Mike Maglio, who is my 4th cousin that I met on Ancestry DNA, he said, let's have a 4th cousin get together. So a lot of them were from the Connecticut area or Massachusetts. So we all met up in Connecticut. There were 4 of us and our spouses. And he's there on the left with the orange shirt. He had a huge surprise for me when we got there that day. What we're holding is my lineage. He found my birth mother's side.
So now she has both sides of her family tree.
And I was so excited, and he made that whole family. Look at the work. Can you imagine? I mean, if I blew that up, that goes back 7 generations on both sides. So he is amazing. I will never, ever, ever forget what he's done to bring me to my birth family. But that was our reunion. That was kind of our meeting. And so now I had to meet my mother's side of the family.
More names to remember.
Okay. Now, my birth parents actually passed away before I got to meet them. But here is a picture of my birth mother. Her name's Rita. And we've got the same chin, the same nose, the same eyes. And according to my siblings, we have the same mannerisms, the same personality, the same taste in clothes. After she passed away, they didn't give away her clothes. They said, here's her closet, pick out what you want. And I love her clothes, wear them all the time. As a matter of fact, I just realized I'm wearing one of her. This is one of hers. I didn't even realize that. I forgot.
And the clothes didn't fit anyone else in the family.
And no one else liked them, but totally my taste. And
Can we tell them the story about the apple pie?
Yes. Tell them the story
So
about the apple pie.
she's supposed to go over.
Well, wait a second. Hold on. Let's first show the picture of Donald, and then you can tell the
all
picture.
right.
Here's the picture of Donald and Kathy the day I met them. These are my brother and sister on my birth mother's side. We all have the same eyes. Other than that, we don't look alike because they look like their father. They've got the German. Maybe we have that picture, the one in the diner. Maybe we're missing that one. Oh, with Donald and Kathy. All right. Okay. Maybe we're missing that picture. Anyway, so now you can tell them the story.
No, I want to see the picture first. No.
I don't know.
So she's supposed to go over. I'm upstate again, and she was supposed to go over to see her sister Kathy. Well, she got the 2 addresses mixed up.
They live around the corner from each other.
And she went over Donald's house. Before she went, she says, "What should I bring?" I said, "Why don't you make an apple pie? You make a good apple pie. Bring that." So she makes an apple pie. She puts on jeans with some bling on the legs. She puts on a cowboy hat. And then she shows up at Donald's house instead of Kathy's.
And my poor brother freaked because I was dressed just like his mother would have dressed. And she used to bake apple pies. So he went white and he started to shake. We have a picture of all of us in Kathy's backyard all together. Do we have that picture, Carmine? I think we're freezing a little bit. There we go. There's a picture of us. Donald is in the middle, in the back, and his wife Nancy, and where's Kathy in there? Oh, I think Kathy's missing from that picture.
Kathy took the picture.
Oh, Kathy took the picture. So they all invite us to absolutely everything, including my niece's wedding. Katie, she got married, and we had to be at the wedding, and that was the first time I got to meet my other brother from Kansas, Bobby, and we have that picture. I hope. Do we have the picture of the wedding where I meet Bobby? It is the 4 of us. That's the first time the 4 of us are all together. We're the only living siblings left on my birth mother's side. My older sister and younger brother and baby sister are deceased, but that was the first time I met my brother
Bobby.
and
let me tell you something. It was a challenge to dance with my wife at this wedding because Bobby was so overwhelmed with Maureen being almost identical to his mother. He just couldn't get over it.
He couldn't stop staring at me. He couldn't stop touching me like, are you real? And we have a family resemblance because he's a little shorter, but they said he was thrilled to meet me because I'm the shortest one in the family and not him. But it's just been very, very special. And who I did get to meet, that's me and my birth mother. My birth mother's on the left. She's got the dimple, and that's me on the right. And I just think there's an amazing similarity between the 2 of us. My girlfriend, Susan, who's known me since I'm 9 years old, when I posted those 2 pictures on Facebook, she thought they were both me. And she's known me since I'm about that age. That's how much we look alike, her and I. So I thought that was a really great picture. And then I didn't get to meet them, but I did get to meet my birth mother's sister, Aunt Terry. We went to Florida.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Maria on the left. Now, I would first like to know, Neil, I'd like you to notice who is the tallest person in that picture. I just want it for the record. Who's the tallest picture?
Yes, dear, it's you.
It's me. It's my cousin Joyce I met. There's my Aunt Terry. That's my birth mother's sister. And Maria on the left, she had actually come to New York and met me again in church. And she invited us down. She and her husband invited us down to stay at their beautiful home in Tequesta. And I got to meet her sister, and I got to meet my birth mother's sister, who they say is very much like her. That was exciting. And while we were down, what we found out was my birth mother's sister, my Aunt Terry right there, lives 20 minutes away
From her birth father's brother.
my uncle on my other side.
You can't make this up.
You can't
20 minutes away in this whole country, nor anywhere in the world.
birth father's brother and his wife. And of course, I was wearing my crown and sash, how to take the picture with the crown and sash, showed her how to pose. Had all the neighbors posing in the house. It's been quite a ride. If we've had quite a ride on motorcycles, this has been an amazing ride, meeting all these people and just having them accept us immediately. It's like, well, you have to come, your family. It's like, you have to be at the wedding. You have to be at this.
And all this food. We're always eating.
Yeah, it's Italian.
I don't
Both
have a problem with
sides.
that now, do
No, you don't. The last picture I'm going to show you is the pageant. When I was in the pageant is when both sides of the family met. My two sisters. Way on the right is my sister Kathy from my mother's side, and next to her is Rita and me. And my niece is on the left. And it was pretty exciting for me, not only winning, but also having my two sisters meet for the first time. It was very, very exciting. And it still is. And I feel completely blessed. And I recommend to anyone, if you're ever thinking about adopting or you do adopt, tell your kids right away. It was my favorite bedtime story. And it made me feel extra special. And I remember one time when I was a kid, I asked my mom, I said, wait a minute, didn't my birth mother love me? She gave me away. And my mom said, oh my gosh, she loved you so much. She couldn't take care of you, and she wanted you to have the best home you could have. So you're doubly loved. And it made me feel so very special. Should we tell the story about Mark?
Which one?
I just have to tell you this quick story. Mark, my brother-in-law, Mark, before we met, he tells me this story. He said to my sister, he says, you know, she was adopted. She might be a little needy. She's probably a little crazy. She's probably a little emotional. And he says, for crying out loud, he said, you had the best life of all of us.
And she did. She traveled all over the place with her dad. So
yeah, my dad loved to travel. So that's our show for today. And
I hope you enjoyed that. A little twist to the story.
A little twist to the story.
But next week.
Oh, we go back. We're on the road next week.
We're on the road.
We prep for the bike trip next week. And we get to show you all of that good stuff and take you along on the ride with us. It's going to be an edited version instead of a live version like this. So you'll actually get to be with us on the road. So we thank you all for joining us. God bless. And we'll see you next week.
There was a dream, such a dream, just a staring at me, the stage on which I will be singing my songs. Yes, I know.